Planet 2. Pot calling
From a psychopath.
Well, yeah, pot calling the kettle black. Did you watch Killer last night?
No, I didn't.
You're going to watch it immediately. Did you mean you were going to watch the reviews?
No. I intended
It's good.
on it.
It's good.
I mean, anything David Fincher.
Yeah, I need to watch it again. Obviously, it's a Fincher film, but the action and fighting is
Typical of this Fight Club has action is I mean, but there wasn't like zoom action stuff.
probably the most for that. Gone Girl, but not.
He did some of the minor.
Yeah. There's a ton of action.
Well, cheers and welcome to From Behind the Barcast, the podcast for bartending, service industry, drinking in general. I'm Paxton Eugene. That's Clint the Mayonnaise Marauder Moses and Sunset Kelly on the ones and twos.
And it's that time of the year where you can drink the dew fresh off the bridge. Cheers, my friend. It looks actually kind of dewish.
It looks a little bit like Mountain Dew. So may the circle go unbroken. We have reached unity.
May the Ouroboros continue.
The snake has in fact eaten its tail. We have come full circle in the Mountain Dew lore. Now, for our new listeners who don't know, I'm going to speed run this story really quick.
And Mountain Dew would appreciate the speed,
yes.
the speed of the dew.
A quick synopsis. So a few years ago, early pandemic or
Was it pre?
Pandemic.
No, it was pre. Was
Yeah,
it pre?
pre-pandemic.
or cusp of pandemic.
Yes. I think it was the summer before.
I'm coming onto the island, onto beautiful Tybee Island, Georgia, and there's a bit of traffic. I don't know if it was a wreck or whatever. And as I'm coming on, I get stuck on the bridge, and I see a homeless gentleman.
We have like a quarter-mile long bridge
It's a
coming.
pretty long bridge,
Getting from.
So this homeless gentleman with a shirt over his shoulder, it's hot outside, pushing his bicycle. Now, I don't know if he was pushing it because it had a flat tire or if it was just easier.
That bridge is scary when
It's
riding
a
a bike.
pretty narrow bridge for sure. I see him relieve himself of a 2-liter bottle of Mountain Dew. It was about half drink. He sets it on the side of the bridge. I make a note of this, sort of forget about it.
That it's bad hydration for a hot day.
I know, right? Milk was a bad choice. So I go off the island a few days later, and that Mountain Dew is back on the escalator. It is there. I was like, I'm taking a picture of it, and I'm putting it onto the internet. And as I do this, the lore grows and grows. It becomes an effigy.
Rises.
Yes. It becomes an effigy. It becomes the golden calf almost. So we have pilgrimages to this thing.
I mean, the Jesus above Brazil, above Rio de Janeiro. I mean, come on.
Touchdown Jesus at Notre Dame. I
Yes.
mean, so the lore of this thing spread so much, and it got out of hand. I didn't think it would be the thing that it was. So anyways, throughout the years since then.
You made a Facebook page.
Yeah, which is
that has,
which I don't manage.
Which is not, it's poorly managed right now. But it's got over 1,000 followers on it, and it's the
Bull River Mountain Dew fan page for the Cure, and it's a very long name. I
Yes.
tried to do the Michael Scott thing.
Yes, and we posted many epitaphs of fake religious Deuteronomy things, do unto others as he would do unto you, and it just became a gimmick for a while.
So
And it kind of went away.
So
every
it
now
kinda-
and then,
yeah.
every now and then, you'd drive by, there'd be a fresh, crisp morning 2-liter Dew.
Which people were so excitable and excited to do it. I was like, hey, I'm not
or
gonna,
mad at it. Some people get mad at it.
It did divide the populace a little bit. So
Those mellow yellow people were pissed.
Big
mellow
Soda
yellow.
was pissed. So a friend of mine, Kyle Dyer, that I work with, he tells me this little tale. He was leaving the island the other day, and not unlike my trip onto the island, there's traffic. He's stuck in traffic on the bridge. There's a homeless gentleman with a shirt slung over his shoulder pushing a bicycle.
If you're watching, he did right shoulder the first time, left shoulder this time.
It's a different guy. He discovers the Dew as he's walking, like 40 years
The
in
Dew
the
was
desert.
there last week when I came out here on Thursday.
So Kyle witnesses this gentleman get to the Dew, crack it open,
And enjoys the Dew.
enjoys the Dew in the bright sunshine.
So here's the thing. There's only a time of the year, like I said, it's the time of year you can drink the Dew off the bridge because you're not drinking that Dew in July. I mean, it will explode when you open it up. But it's been cool lately.
It's been nice
The
and
dew
cool.
is nice and cool. It's early morning, too. The early morning dew is cooler than the late afternoon dew.
So I was like, it also took me back to the enjoyment I get of not only from homeless people, like getting their first bit of respite from whatever their journey was. Like the guy I saw open the Slim Jim, which I know he hadn't eaten like a couple of days. Someone gave him 75 cents and he popped open that
I
Slim
wonder how
Jim.
this guy went, when he, the dew.
It's like the guy who gets done cutting his grass and you watch him open that first beer and stand and look over
Just
his
like a Mountain Dew off the top of a bridge as you look out
freshly
over to the
cut
sunrise.
his freshly cut kingdom.
He's glistening. He turned his shirt off to drink the dew, so he would glisten in the sunset.
So I don't think we planned this, but the cocktail
We were do it again. It's very dewy.
it looks very dewy. So
I mean,
what's
I got,
in this thing?
I got the yellow and the green. So what we're drinking tonight is New Amsterdam vodka mixed with a blend of green tea that I steeped green tea with a whole ton of black sawgrass honey from Savannah Bee Honey.
Is it black saw or sawgrass or both?
It's sawgrass from a black sawgrass. A black guy saw the grass and made it.
And
So it's from Savannah Bee Honey, mixed in with the steep tea, lemon juice that I took and pureed cucumbers here, an English cucumber, for more on that later, and pureed that together real well, shook it up with some more of the vodka, a little bit of extra lemon juice, and poured it over the rocks, and it is delicious.
do you have a name for it?
The Mountain Dew? I don't know.
Yeah. We have to think of something.
We'll think of a name.
Maybe we should workshop
Maybe
that
we
before
drink
we go
and
on the
it
air.
topped off a little bit of Polar Seltzer or Pellegrino. We kind of did a little bit of both.
Speaking of
Little
Mountain,
bubbles right on top. It's refreshing.
speaking of Mountain Dew and bad decisions when it comes to food and drink. So your hungover choices
The
of
English
food.
cucumber. We got to figure out how to say that
We'll
correctly.
figure it out. I know your typical hungover choice of food is a pho. Typically,
Mm-hmm.
today I woke up and I was like,
Especially this time of year.
I'm not going to make that. I'm not going to make that bad decision of getting something trash.
And you can't get pho without a substantial drive.
Yeah, I can't. Yeah,
Were you hungover today?
I mean a little bit, but not so much that
We spoke at like 9 o'clock, which is
Yeah.
an incredibly early business meeting for us.
I mean, I probably
And it was
drank it.
quick?
I drank it till like midnight last night, probably, and then
Did you get the bouillet?
no, I was drinking vodka last night. So
I drank vodka Friday when I got home from work. I had like 3 Yeti-sized vodka drinks and woke up Saturday and was like, what the hell? Oh, vodka.
So I woke up today, and you notice how you ever watch like do you ever watch Mad Men?
Yes.
You're watching them drink cocktails and smoke cigarettes all day, and even if you don't feel like having a drink or a cigarette,
You do that?
you see them. So I turned on
Allison Brie, I want to say.
I turned on YouTube this morning, and somebody I follow was doing frozen pizza comparisons between them.
Oh, yeah.
So that got stuck in my head. Mind you, they didn't have any of the styles of pizza that
About
this
to ask,
gentleman
were
was
you able to get them
covering.
at your local store?
So I got something called like a Tony's or something like that. So I was like, on the way back, I was
Tony's.
like, I'm Tony's. So I put it in the oven. Completely forgot about it.
Oh, nice. Nice. So you extra crispy.
And luckily so, because if I'd have eaten that pizza fresh, I would have eaten like 3/4 of the thing, bread and all. All I could do was pick the toppings off,
Eat the middle.
and it's the best thing that's ever happened to me. If I had that pizza inside of me right now,
And the thing is, you don't eat a lot of pizza due to where your proximity to pizza for the last 15 years.
that's what made it so
Joint.
strange. Like I want to get a frozen pizza.
God, it's like if I got hungover and was like, you want some shitty frozen seafood. More on that in the second half. Stay tuned for this grouper of situation. So, yeah, I stomach's feeling great today, baby. No Taco Bell last night. Had some leftover duck and rice, smoked a duck on Saturday with the intent purpose. I sell smoked ducks on Thanksgiving and Christmas and other holidays, but it's my big money maker for selling smoked meats. So I was like, I'm going to cook this duck. I'm going to get a great picture of this duck. And a picture of me slicing it right, if it's sliced in half with 2 to split nice pieces of duck. And instead, I was trying to get the duck off during the end of. If y'all are tired of it yet, then fucking beat them, because it's not happening. Are they going to lose again? Who knows?
I don't think so.
52-17 washed the number 9 Ole Miss Rebels. Carson Beck said after the game in his interview, "I'm only dirty because I ran the ball. They never touched me. They literally didn't put their hands on our quarterback when he was behind the line of scrimmage.
I noticed that. Yes.
They lead the SEC in sacks, except when they play the University of Georgia. Had everybody healthy on the line, so in and out all line. It's just a
You know who wasn't healthy? Ole Miss's quarterback, because I haven't seen a pure knockout, eyes rolling in the back of the head.
Yeah. When his arm went down?
Outstretched arms.
Doing the punch drunk of.
He went outstretched arm, and his arm went.
Oh, no. Not that time.
Okay.
The time when he got actually knocked out.
Oh, yeah.
He got 2 helmets on each side of the head. He lays down, eyes roll into the back of his head.
Oh, yeah. The Frankenstein?
He starts doing the Frankenstein.
Either you Frankenstein or you T-Rex.
Or it's
It's one of the two when you get a concussion, you Frankenstein or your T-Rex. If the T-Rex is back at this, it's twitchy. The Frankenstein, you're stiff. You're stiff. Help me up.
But now that there's
that
there's 900 cameers on the field, I saw the shot of his eyes rolling back.
It's
kind of scary, man. I mean, hey, F the other team, but you don't want to see a guy.
No hate for Ole Miss fans.
Yeah, I don't want to see.
It's Ole Miss. If it had been Tennessee, maybe.
I don't want to see a guy not be able to, take a Wonderlic test if he ever gets to the NFL,
But it was so I forgot. I'm bringing the duck off at the end of the beginning of the second half, so I'm like kind of rushing around with it. Put the duck to sit and rest. Come back to it. I'm trying to watch the game. I'm cutting into the duck. I'm not thinking about it. It's hard. Duck's a lot harder to cut than a chicken. I make a mess of it, and I'm like, wait, I need a picture. Oh, I've ruined this thing. I have ruined this thing.
Yeah, there's no filter. There's no duck filter.
There's no duck recovery filter. So I had to find an older picture today. But if you want smoked ducks for Christmas or Thanksgiving, holla at your
How many
boy.
can you do at a time?
I can do 6 at a time, 7 if it's a push. I like to do 3 runs. So basically, I took the day off before Thanksgiving. My buddy Poe's going to come. So it's a 4 to 6 hour brine, 2 hours in the fridge open so they can kind of dry out. I hope to God on Thanksgiving Day it's less than 50 degrees outside because I can brine them. I can dry them out in the garage with a floor fan, which only takes 1 hour then.
Is it sugar, salt, brine?
I do sugar, salt, brown sugar, salt, bay leaves. Got the bay leaf tree, garlic, and some black peppercorns. And sometimes I'll throw some extra citrus in there.
Do the bay leaves do anything?
Yes. They keep you at bay.
Do you put paprika in it? Does that do anything?
That's on the outside, on the rub, and then take it out, let it dry, stuff onions and oranges up the ass,
as you do,
and then season it, cook for 2.5 hours, maybe 3, and then let them finish it off at their own home oven. So basically, it's 3. What last year I did 16 ducks, so it was 3 runs.
Do you have one of those pellet smokers that
6.
texts you when it's done?
Yeah. When it's at temperature, when the smoke's right, when you can change it from your phone, and it'll text you when it shuts down. It's like mine is called, shout out to Shay, Old Campy Chef. Because we renamed it when it updated like the June before last. I had to give it a name and was like, Shane and I were there together, or stoned, and he was like, what do you want to call it something besides Camp Chef? He's like, what about Old Campy Chefy? And I was like, done.
We're very high.
That's since then it's got 1,340 hours on it since June 2021. That's a lot.
Yeah, I guess it keeps track of it. If it texts you
every
when
cook, I can like write down what I did, the time it was on. Like it'll keep track of everything for you.
What if you really fucked it up one time? Is that a shameful reminder of your inadequacy?
I mean, it could be. I mean, you don't want to mess up some duck. But you know what's not a shameful reminder of last week? It's this week's. It's the quote of the week. He can eat corn on the cob through a chain link fence. He can eat corn on the cob through a chain link fence.
Whose mouth were they talking about? Please tell me.
Shout out Quinn Sean Smith, a.k.a. my brother-in-law, Sean Smith. There was a guy on the Ole Miss's running back's name was Quinshawn Judkins. And he had jacked up teeth. And we were just trying to figure out Quinshawn Judkins.
That sounds like Key and Peele.
It does, doesn't it? Quinshawn Judkins?
It sounds like they got the letters mixed up. The birth certificate.
They didn't spell Sean right either. But his teeth were jacked up. My brother-in-law goes, he can eat corn on the cob through a chain link fence. Just the image of a man trying to eat corn on the cob through a chain link fence. Not having sense to put the corn through the fence, but actually going through. The corn's lateral, so he's trying to eat through the chain links. And it looked like he had done it a few times because his grill was bad.
That hurt me.
That pretty much hurt Quinshawn. You know what may have actually hurt somebody, though? You don't want to hurt anybody you love. And you have some friends you're more willing to hurt than others because they're not as sensitive or they need the pain, right? You know, they're going through some times. You got to tough love them. And sometimes they're just one of your more, not that they're a sensitive friend, it's that they're such a gentle soul that you feel bad when you hurt them in the slightest way.
You can't like break their balls at all because they'll take
You can break their balls some, but it's like they get less ball breaking because they don't need it because they're already a good soul. You know what I mean?
Oh, so they don't need any moral adjustments. They
right.
just
and they're just
You just have to temper the way you speak to them.
kind of. You don't want more so that you don't want to slight them, because then you feel like, oh man, this guy's such a great guy, and I slighted him on purpose or by accident. And so I felt like last week I may have slighted somebody that's like that to me.
Oh, okay.
Somebody we can we lovingly call Sunset.
Oh, you're talking. Oh,
and
he's not that fucking sensitive.
I know exactly. I didn't say I was being all sensitive. You were going on to it. He's not sensitive. It's just he's a gentle soul. So I got Paxton a gift last week, and so I got Kelly
What?
the same gift. But inside of this gift, Kelly, it's something I'm going to have to show it because there's no camera on Kelly. It's something I've owed Kelly since week 1 of the college football season,
Yes,
which is
you have.
$5.
Chris Blinken.
And then inside of this also is come on here with me, buddy. It's something I don't think you'll put on your car, but if you want it, you can have it. It's from Bubba Gumbo's, so it's a dog. No, is that a no?
No, I'll take it.
Yeah.
He won't put it on his car, but
Yeah, you don't put stickers in your car. German cars don't do that. But you have a sticker place in your house. You put stickers, right?
I got plenty of stickers.
And there you go. So I thought,
Plenty
hey,
of stickers.
look, Kelly, I'm sorry I forgot about your $5 for, and you kept reminding me week to week. I was like, I want to make this a bit that I owe him this money, but also I started feeling bad.
so
Thank you for this.
So we talked about it the other night, and I was like, "There's Kelly gently mentioning that you guys had a bet going,
Yeah. And because you know why? Because he's a nice guy. He doesn't need to bring it up.
and he knew it wasn't
It's not that
refusal,
he's sensitive. It's just Kelly's just easygoing. He goes with the flow very well.
and it wasn't
You and I
refusal to pay
aren't
for
flow
me.
goers.
And I wasn't going against the dogs. I love the dogs. I'm a Clemson guy.
think we bet on the spread, right?
It was a spread. That's
We bet
all
on
it
it
was.
as a spread
It
bet.
was the first game of the season. It was a huge, like 52, 53 points.
Yeah.
I'm thinking out of the gate, that's a tough one to navigate.
And I thought, and I'm cocky. I was like, yeah, we got this.
So I was like, I'm going to Vegas. I'm going to take
My $5.
I'm taking the points. Yeah.
And this is why you don't bet on your own team, because you don't.
Exactly.
And I don't usually want to bet, but it's Kelly. I was like, you know what? I'll take the bet because it's Kelly.
I'm surprised you would even engage in gambling at all.
It was an honest wager.
He's such a noble man.
Yeah.
It was an honest wager.
Yeah, it wasn't a very honest wager.
Thank you, Clint. And thank you for the cup. Thank you for the sticker.
Pax has been using his cup. I like mine. They're good cups. The thing is, the last game I went to.
Bedside cups.
Bedside cups, yes. I'm a little clumsy in bed because I'm one of those few males that needs 12 pillows. I don't have 12, but we've discussed this before, I think. All right, I've got head. I've got one next to my body that I can just lay my arm onto the side of me. I got the cuddle pillow. I got backup cuddle pillow that goes for left arm setting, and then of course the crotch pillow.
This dude's got a system for everything.
You need a drop for that.
You have a mayonnaise for chicken salad and a mayonnaise for sandwiches. You have a pillow for snuggling, a pillow that you can kick away easily.
Yeah, and
Whenever
the
you get
backup one in case I lose my cuddle pillow. Then I have to go find it on the floor. But in that,
You got 3 on top of an ice block so they stay nice and cool so you can rotate them out.
Well, I will now. But
You're welcome.
because of that, my bedside drink is a Yeti with a lid and a straw in it because I have knocked it over 7 or 8 times, and on the other side of that is my dog in his bed. You know what a dog really likes is waking up to like ding to the dome of a metal Yeti. So then I'm apologizing to the dog. His bed's wet. Everything's a mess. So I just keep the lid on there. Sometimes you got to keep a lid on things. I'm not good at keeping a lid on things, but
Not typically.
not typically.
Well, are you good about we had a little communication issue earlier today. I was asleep and you were like, "Wear them clips, bruh." Mm-hmm. And I didn't answer because I was asleep. And then I woke up. He was like, "I'll tell you what." This is in the text. Okay. I was like, his Vidalia is coming out of him. He goes, "I'll tell you what. I ain't coming out there."
Tell you was one word. I said, I'm not leaving my house.
Tell you what, I ain't leaving my house until I get them clips, you son bitch.
You know what worked? You know what worked? I got the damn clips. It was the 3rd time I've asked for them. In fact, he just kept either forgetting or not wanting to do them. And I was like, he's begrudgingly going to give me his goddamn clips.
And I knew the mood that he was in, so I couldn't use the
I was in a
Vidalia.
great mood.
I couldn't use the Vidalia line right then because his country comes out. His country slang, his country accent
I ain't helping you now.
comes out when he's in a
Twang.
heat. So I was like,
You know, I like twang in my mayonnaise, and I like twang in my talk sometimes.
so we had a few communication problems earlier, but nothing we couldn't overcome.
No.
But there are certain things, and there are certain times for certain things, and if I've texted you a few times, and then just obviously the ability to text something long, you could do it.
Yeah. But sometimes it's easier to make a phone call.
But always warn with a text that a phone call is coming. Do you ever no condom a phone call?
Especially with you.
Yeah.
I warn you because sometimes you're like, phone's ringing, someone's calling me, and you don't answer. But like today, I had to call you when you're in the car because that was like it was of time. With time's of the essence.
But we have been communicating.
But we can be communicating, correct. But
do you ever call raw? Yeah, you call raw.
Yeah.
I raw call all the time.
I don't.
I have certain friends I talk to at certain times. Like when I leave here on Mondays, I'm going to talk to Grant more than likely. So he knows there's a Clint call coming between 9 and 11. And then Richard and I usually talk around that time too.
9/11, that reminds me of that tragedy.
Yeah. It was last year in September when I ran that stoplight.
If I call up by accident, it's usually there's a certain reason, not necessarily super serious, but this is a genuine moment. Like,
well, when you're driving the cab, I know that it is way more efficient for you just to pick up the phone raw.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Billy, do you raw phone call or do you text her?
Never. Hold on. Yes. Billy is the fourth person in the room that none of you have ever heard of because Paxton did an introduction. He's like, hey, Billy's our ghost.
No, that's why I did it that way.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, I will
no raw
call.
Phone calls. Thank you.
I'll raw call, but like it's always they could be expecting a call to make it. It's a regular thing around that time of day. All right, if it's between 2:30 and 3 o'clock, 4 days a week, my father can expect a phone call because I'm on the way to work. And my last job, I went to work between 4:30 and 5, so I'd call my sister almost every other day, and just to get some time to talk because our hours are so misbalanced. You know, she goes to work at 7 a.m. and gets off at 5. And so 5 days a week, I'm at work those hours.
No, I understood, but take out the people that you communicate with on a regular basis, right?
I'm not raw calling Eric Thomas.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, you're not raw calling.
Travis Udon.
Yeah, you're not raw calling someone that you speak to twice a week already.
No,
right?
but if it's somebody I don't talk to a lot, it's rare. I'll feel them out first.
I still don't raw call anyone ever.
You don't call anyone. I'll feel it out here and there. But on the opposite end of that, something that's more important to me, it's what's a phone call could have easily been a text. Especially when you call someone, they don't answer. They text you back, hey, I can't talk. What's up? Give me a call when you got a minute. You call them, and what they need to tell you, they say in one sentence. That's a text message.
Get milk.
Whatever the hell it is, it's a text message. You say it in one sentence. What time are you going to be over here later? I don't know. Text me. I'll tell you. But to make me call you, it's a little.
That's the person when you do call them, you start shooting out the little indicators. Like, all right, well, let me let you go.
Yeah. No,
they don't hear those things.
No, when they call you because you're like, hey, what's up? What you need? They call you again. Like, I meant to call you back the other day. So you text them, meant to call you back. What'd you need? They call right then because they know you're by your phone. And you're like, hey, what's up? I'm in the car about to be at work. You lay the groundwork for I'm gonna have to go soon, and then what time are you gonna be here? Or what should I bring tomorrow? Anything that's a quick answer. And then once you get through that, then they're like, so what's been going on? And you're like, oh, I'm driving to work.
Still going to work. Do you have voicemail availability on your phone?
I do.
I don't. I let it fill up pretty much on purpose so that no one can.
For food, I sell food, so I have to. I don't take voicemails because probably my four biggest clients are over 65. That's the voicemail generation.
Well, I can tell you what my voicemail is filled up with probably if I ever listen to them.
Don't call me out like that. No, it's not me.
No, it's, hey, call me back.
Oh, my God. I will fucking beat you.
Who leaves a voicemail that says, call me back?
Oh, hey, it's me. I'm just giving you a call. I know you called. Did the phone ring 5 times? Then I know you called. Shout out to Richard. You bastard. All the time. We'll be on the phone. One of our phones cuts out. He calls back and leaves a voicemail. I know that something happened to the phone call. We were just on the phone.
Hey,
I don't need you to.
We got disconnected. Yeah, we did.
Did we? I wasn't on the call. What happened? Bruh, I know. It's something about like he's got 2 kids. He's 43, but now he's 80, and so he does that. And it's like, come on. It's like my grandfather. You remember my grandfather? We called it bestefar, which is the Norwegian word for a grandfather, because he was from Norway, and he was a very curt, stern man. He had a lot to say, but it was very long and boring because he was a soil scientist. But he had a cell phone. We got him. Hey,
soil scientist.
Yes, an agronomist. It's very exciting, very cold energy. And we got him a cell phone so we could find him or he could use it in emergencies. See what he would do? He would take the cell phone out of his glove box. He'd pull over. He'd make a phone call. He would call you. He would hang up the phone, turn off the phone, put it back in the glove box.
I prefer that. Oh my, that's the life hack.
You know why he turned it off?
Why?
To save the battery.
I thought he meant so it wouldn't distract him driving.
I didn't have the heart to tell him, Well, no, the battery charges pretty cheaply from a house. And I think for like the first 3 months, he thought that the battery that was in there was it. And it was going to be like double A's coming back in that bad boy. Like he's got to undo the back of it and fix it. Because he would call me like, Clint, I'm giving you a
Maybe
call.
Norwegian cell phone batteries
Clint,
are
I've just
one
gotten
time
into
use.
Savannah. I was wondering, we're going to meet at Garibaldi's. At what time again? All right, just give me a ring back. But then he turns the phone off, so I'm doing smoke signals to get his attention in traffic. Like, where are you?
I thought he was being a safe driver by turning the phone off.
He was a safe driver until he was 90. Like, you got to quit driving. He was like, but do I?
There's one thing I won't do in the car is touch my phone at all.
I have it hooked to my Bluetooth in one car. In the other car, if I'm expecting a phone call to use it, there's a headphone in.
Even still, I'm still not answering it.
I'm not texting in the car unless I'm at a complete stop. Or I'll talk to the phone to text stuff if I need to. But it's very rare that you need to be driving and return text. No, I like watching somebody who's doesn't have, at least if you're gonna do it, at least do it like this. If you can't see me, I'm holding my phone up eye level so I can look at the phone, not phone down by your lap to be indiscreet, looking down while you're driving the car. Guess where your eyes are? Away from the road.
Well, that's the chicken egg situation. So now that they made it illegal to use your phone in a car, people hold it down
to hide it.
But
you're not looking at your dick while you're driving. In the hands-free thing, question for you, both of you. All right, it's a hands-free state. Can I eat a hamburger? Can I dip my hamburger in mayonnaise in the other hand? Do we know the answer to this question?
Can I take my bowl of pho with me in the car?
That's ridiculous. You put it in the pho container. That's what we have right here. Okay. You put your pho in there.
Do you have a pho straw?
You kind of chop everything up. I've got a goddamn system for everything, don't I? You chop everything up pretty good. You take the lid. You cut out a little corner of it. And you just.
I thought this was a bit. He's fucking serious.
Yeah.
Yes.
I have walked through downtown Savannah, leaving Boomies with pho in one of these. Already just chop the meat up real good and just sip it on that noodle broth meat goodness.
It's like the Wayne's World car where they had the the red rope licorice coming out of the dispenser.
Exactly. God, come on, man. Hey, you don't never need a pho on the go, yo.
Pho on the go.
Pho on the
All
go.
right, guys. Really exciting
So
second half.
Second half, we're gonna have
a friend on, international friend, and we just met him this weekend. He's in town until Wednesday, and super excited to have him on. Also, please. Remember to follow David Smiley Art on Instagram. He does all of our logos and stuff like that. He's a great artist, and he can do work for you as well. And we will see you in the second half. Hey guys, Paxton here. I hope you're enjoying the show. And if you are, there's a few simple things that you can do that will really help us out. Number one, whether you listen on Spotify, Apple, Google, or wherever, you can drop us a rating and a review if you haven't already. Positive or negative, we'd love to hear from you. And the more ratings and reviews that we receive, the more we'll be put in front of new audiences. Also, if you listen on Spotify, you can easily share episodes to your Instagram stories. If you watch us on YouTube, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. You might not be. And finally, why not shoot us an email with any service industry or just general stories that you'd like us to share? We always love hearing from you, and we love using your stuff. The email is FromBehindTheBarcast@gmail.com. Can't wait to hear from you, and enjoy the second half of the show. And welcome back. We have a special guest tonight from the United Britain of Great Kingdom, Billy Morton. Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much for having me.
So we met the other night at work, and we got to chat a little bit last night. And At Huckapoo's. And this is how many times have you been to the U.S.?
So, in total, I've been here 4 times. This Georgia, if we're not counting it in order, is my 41st state.
God damn. 41st state?
41st.
I haven't been to 41 states.
So on this current trip, how many states have you been to?
On this current trip, I did all of New England, so I think that's 5 all in, and then 4 more new ones so far, which is Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, West Virginia, and then Alabama left on this trip, and then we don't know from there. We're not planning that far ahead. But
Sure,
essentially, yeah.
Well, what brought you in the first place? Your first...
The first ever trip to this country? So there's a short and long version. Essentially, finished university. I wanted to do some sort of trip over that summer before, you get hit in the face with the real world.
Yeah, life.
So I was like, okay. So I was looking at things to do, and I saw a video of a musician, Shaky Graves, playing live at the Parish in Austin, Texas. Then I looked up with my mate I looked up flight prices from England to Austin, and they were extortionate. So I was like,
yeah,
okay,
Austin's expensive to fly to Austin from anywhere.
yeah, it's just really far. So I was like, oh, where's the cheapest place in America I can get a single ticket to? And it's New York. So we basically turned it into a road trip that started in New York and ended in Austin, Texas.
So rented a car.
Yeah.
essentially, yeah.
Had either one of you been here before?
I'd been once, but that was just a straight up New York holiday.
And you hadn't driven a car here.
No.
So how was that shock of driving on the other side of the road?
Wrong side of the road.
Other side of the road?
Wrong side of the road. No gears. You all merge on the motorway like maniacs.
Yes.
Your indicators are apparently optional.
As a BMW driver, I hear that a lot.
Yeah. So it was.
So over there, everyone uses the goddamn turn signal like you're supposed to?
Yeah, and so the biggest thing I got told by my parents, who had driven a little bit in this country before we set off, because I was 21 for that trip, because, you have to wait for legal drinking age in this country. But they told me, essentially, I'm going to have to drive significantly more aggressive. I'm going to have to drive like, if I drove that way in England, everyone else on the road will think I'm an idiot.
Yes.
But
Right.
if I don't do that, I'm going to be stuck in the same lane. Because in England, if you want to change lanes, you put that indicator on, wait 20, 30 seconds, make sure everyone knows, everyone and their mother knows that you're about to move into that lane. Then you do it. And there's, here, no shot. People beep at you because you've got your indicator on and you're letting them know you're
I mean, here
maneuvering.
they're like, they'll get in the lane and then turn it on for 1 second. Like, oh, yeah, I did that.
Yeah. By the way, I just moved lanes. I'm just letting you know now with my indicators
Yeah.
afterwards.
I don't know if you saw that, but I moved.
I
lanes
have.
then.
So this trip I'm doing on my own, still doing driving. Obviously, the previous trips, so I've done another trip that was Chicago to San Francisco. But that was, again, with 2 other friends. They've now gone on to, get married, not to each other, but just in general, and have lives and goals and careers. And
Yeah,
I was
but-
like, no, I'm good.
But they say 41 states, though?
Yeah, I was
Have they
like-
been to West Virginia?
Yeah, I was like, I haven't got drunk in South Carolina yet, so how could I possibly settle down with a woman?
My story isn't over yet.
Yeah.
I have not gotten drunk in
I've not
Charleston.
found her, and she might be in South Carolina. She might
There's
be
a
in
lot of
Georgia.
options in South Carolina.
She might be in Alabama, and we won't know.
She
until
might be in
we
West
get there.
Virginia. We don't
I hope
know.
for your
No.
case she's not in Alabama or West Virginia, though.
Yeah, so we only saw West Virginia essentially from the car. But yeah, driving on my own now, I've discovered that I talk out loud a lot when I'm on my own.
To the other cars?
Yeah, and I have shouted, the indicator is the little stick next to the wheel, mate. I've shouted that, I reckon, 15 times.
That's good
yeah.
old-fashioned American road rage,
Yeah, I was
right
like, yeah,
there.
this-
Yes.
Yeah.
We take road rage to another level. So have you ever driven in other countries besides our 2 countries?
Yeah, bits of Europe, but very briefly. And again, they are wrong side of the road. Like it's England is basically just backwards.
Like a
but-
theme here that everyone's on the wrong side of the road. Maybe it's
Yeah,
you
yeah.
who's on the wrong side of the road.
I'll just stick to it. If you met English people before, what we do is correct. We measure things in an archaic fashion.
Yeah,
Stones.
based on 10s and 100s.
Yeah. Yeah, we like to keep it simple. We do miles, which is nice. Most rest of Europe doesn't. But yeah, and then this country, so this trip, setting off on my own, first time I got a car was leaving downtown Boston. And I haven't driven in England for like 2-3 years. I got rid of my car in COVID and then just never needed it again.
And Boston's like someone threw spaghetti on a map,
it's-
and we're like, these are the streets now.
So the one thing I've always thought in this country is, got to be good if you lot had more roundabouts, because then you don't have to do the stop
Yeah,
We're
junction.
getting there.
We're getting
And I
there.
don't have to work out whose go it is at the stop junction, because it does seem to operate purely on vibes. I know there is a rule.
Yeah. Especially first come, first serve, but usually it's like,
Yeah, no.
you know what, I'm in a bigger hurry than you are.
Yeah.
I don't know what the hell's going
You
on
should be
there.
able to tell that. My brain indicator tells
Yeah.
you that.
And I'm in like my little rented Nissan Sentra, and that guy's got a truck that is obscenely large. If he
And
looks
so
at
clean.
me, and insinuates that he's going to go next, he's going next.
You're
I'm
kind
too
of-
English.
you
I'm
gotta
not.
buy-
It's after you.
He's got
No,
you,
it's
buddy.
after you.
He's got 2 more tires.
Yeah. No, I'm out. But so I set off from downtown Boston, out of the car park, and my sat nav just went, at the roundabout, take the 3rd exit. And I was like, I'm sorry, what?
You said roundabout? I
There were
didn't know you had
roundabouts
them.
in this.
Yeah.
I didn't know. I yielded to everybody on that roundabout.
Just to be safe.
If I hadn't got lucky and just accidentally been in the correct lane, there's a chance I'm still on that roundabout now. Like I would have just gone round and round, just unable to move.
The circle remains unbroken.
Yeah.
And there Billy was in 2028, circling the roundabout.
Thank God he had a solar-powered electric car.
So what have you found in terms of, so each state that you do visit, what is typically your measure for how you view the people? Is it from interacting with them at bars and pubs, or in any other setting?
So essentially, it sounds relatively sad when I say it out loud, but I realize this is essentially what I do. Is I will arrive in a new city, in a new state. I walk around until 6 p.m. touristy things, look at stuff, take pictures, keep the Instagram ticking over lovely. And then I have, which is now an established rule that started on our first trips like 10 years ago when there was other people with me, is essentially we have a 3-bar rule, which is you can't call it on a town, you can't say this town's boring or this town's not that much fun or there's not a lot going on until you've been to 3 bars. That has genuinely never ever let me down. Not once. And it's almost always the 3rd bar is where I meet either just an incredibly eccentric person, or I meet someone that I get on with really well, who then takes me to the next 4, 5, 6
So I was
bars.
going to ask, do you let each bar tell you about the next bar?
Essentially, I try, like if I'm staying a little bit out of town, then that's the Uber driver's job, is to I just put in a place on, and then once I'm in the Uber, I'm like, if you know somewhere better than where we're currently heading,
a good idea.
I'll happily go there.
So I have a rule with my bar customers. If they're cool, then I suggest them to other cool places where people that I like work, or that I know are fun. If I don't like them, then I'm like, hey, go to the Crab Shack or whatever. You know,
have to call any place directly out.
Yeah, whatever. But yeah, so it's typically on a referral basis in terms of, you go and sit in a place and you're having fun. Typically, someone's going to be like, hey, you should try.
I mean, a lot of people find Huckapoos by going to have dinner somewhere, and that's their server. Hey, where should we go to a bar later? And they're like, hey, here's here and here down front. Huckapoos on the other end of the island.
How did you come upon Huckapoos? Was it a referral?
So Huckapoos, so Tybee in general, so this, I don't book a lot. Like I say, like even towns are referrals, essentially. And I don't book a lot. So I knew I was flying from Boston to Atlanta, and I knew Savannah was nice. So I was like, I'll book Savannah, and I'll work it out from there. Then as I get into Savannah, I realize how close it is to Tybee Island. And Tybee Island is a place I've heard of before, courtesy of a
international
former customer, essentially, of Huckapoos, Chris Wessling, who has got a little mural in the bar.
That's how you know about Savannah, or Tybee, because of Chris Wessling.
Yeah, because of Chris Wessling.
We have people that take pilgrimages to our phone at Huckapoos.
Yeah.
Because on his podcast, Around the League, when he was on Tybee at Huckapoos, they would call him there.
Yeah.
Are you an American football fan?
So I am, yeah, which is how I knew him. And then was always my favorite writer, really, before I knew him from podcast.
Yeah,
form.
Roto
like,
World.
Some of his longer form pieces when he then moved to NFL were some of the best sports writing I've read. Then when he was going through his cancers, my dad was going through the exact same cancer at the same time.
Oh,
so me and Chris used to exchange messages on Twitter DMs and things because I loved the way he spoke about it so openly.
Any dead body, man. It's gonna be Chris, man, because like he's
so yeah, and I
many.
think I was speaking to other people at Huckapoos who knew him, Todd and Tammy.
Yeah.
But they were so touched by like that they recently just done a trip to England to watch the NFL games, the National Series. And nobody knew they were from Georgia or they just knew they were American, and then they're Falcons fans, so they're kind of guessing, okay, you're from Georgia. And the amount of people, when they said, well, we're kind of from this little place called Tybee, near Savannah, if you know Savannah. And the amount of random people that were like, yeah, we know Tybee, Huckapoos, Chris Wessling.
Chris Wessling.
Yeah.
that is.
He's a star. And he was.
I had no idea his reach until I've ran into a couple of people like that were like, I would never expect them to know, because Chris was one of the first people that sort of implored me to be like, hey, be in broadcasting in some sort of way, like, chit chat somewhere on a microphone. You already do it, on your own time anyways. And then I DJ'd his wedding with Lakeisha, and it was and our old mayor of Tybee was their officiant, and that was one of the last times I really got to saw him, because he was getting to that point, and he was such a hard fighter. And
he was the guy. Nothing bad is actually going on right now. He was just pretending.
Just the best dude, and he made everyone around him at all times feel at their peak in some way. Just any sort of compliment from him.
Can we give Chris? Can we give a group?
But yeah,
I had no idea that you were aware of Chris Wessling at all.
That touches my heart and soul, buddy.
He's genuinely the only like non-family member death that I've cried at. when I heard that news, because I was just like, that's, there's a lot of, odd interpersonal. My dad going through the exact same thing he's going through at the time, and I really appreciated. It's harder to talk to your parents about these things than it is, if a stranger essentially is going through it, and they can vocalize what they're going through so well that it's really helpful.
Especially from a writer.
My mother was going through her third bout with cancer, her final one, at the same time he was going through his. So him and my mom would meet up on Tybee and talk about cancer stuff and like lament with each other. And
both of my parents died of cancer when I was younger. And whenever Chris was going through that, I was like, hey, man, I don't know anything medically, but I do know like the emotions. So like if you ever want to talk, and we had a few opportunities to, but obviously that's not something in his personality to be like, hey, listen what's going on.
And at the bar too. You're not running into him a lot of other places. So you said you're an American football fan.
I am.
Do you have a team?
I don't know.
I knew it wasn't going to be the Patriots.
No, so I have a soft spot for the Chargers, but that went when they left San Diego. I really like San Diego as a place. I really love Phillip Rivers.
Which one of his 14 kids is your favorite?
I like the way that he doesn't swear properly.
Or pull out.
Yeah.
He does not pull out properly either.
No, yeah. He was in what we would call in England a top shagger. Yeah, so... if someone's rocking out with that many kids,
He's got his own football team.
And, to be that,
And he was a really great guy.
Great guy, and he would say "dang nubbit" or whatever those weird things were. And it's fantastic.
He would say "gardenia" instead of "God damn it."
There was a BYU basketball player at a game the other day. He fell into the fans, and the fans pushed him off. He goes, "Hey, get the F off of me!"
Yeah.
He didn't even say F. I was like, "Do you get suspended for a game by BYU if you drop the fuck bomb?"
I like the non-cussing cussing. Well, gardenia.
Well,
son of a biscuit eater.
See, cussing here is no different than cussing where you live.
Yes.
Because there's certain words that people here get very offended at that you guys use as a colloquialism, to describe anybody.
Yeah.
And we'll just say the cunt is the big one, probably.
It's I will be rolling halfway through some sort of bizarre anecdote, and I will catch myself in this country having to ask, I'm about to say the C word. Are you going to be incredibly upset?
Pro tip: women just err on the side of caution.
Most of the time, I think they just want to look cool,
women.
So they say, "Yeah, no, it's fine."
Yeah. Let's hear it.
And they'll say it, and then 30 seconds later, they've walked off.
Yeah, they're clutching their pearls.
Without a motorcycle too.
I was like, okay, fair enough.
Out.
Yeah, no, I've had some interesting ones. I turn on when my grandmother was still alive, because I am English and I do swear a lot in the flow of normal sentences.
Right.
I'll drop fucking for no reason just because I can't. It's my filler word.
It's an
Instead of I will just say fucking.
It's an adjective.
It's an adjective, a verb, an adverb.
Yeah.
It does everything you need it to do.
And
it
anything,
really fucks.
Yeah, anything I don't know what it is, it's that
It's a fucking thing.
What the fuck?
It's the fucking thing.
So cunt can be used as, he's a ripe old good cunt, or cunt can be good and bad.
I can text one of my friends now and say you're a good cunt, you. And he will know what that means.
You can really play with the cunt and make it do what you want.
Yeah, you can be a
utilitarian word.
Yeah. In England, I think the word means less now because everyone just basically swears all the time. But you can still deliver it with the same ferocity. You can still upset someone with it, but you're going to have to mean it.
I mean, there's people here. One time, it's over. Your friendship is ruined for them for cunting them.
But it also is down to inflection, So there are certain American words that or American slang terms that if you say with a certain veracity or a certain inflection, yeah, exactly. It's like you can tell if there's malicious meaning behind it, And so it's all about context. But we were talking the other night about especially talking about American football. Punter is something different here than it is over there.
Yeah, punter essentially is just somebody who gambles or is just having a go at something. But it would be a punter.
They're trying something out that they're not.
Yeah, they're having a punt, which I think probably still would come from the same
maybe
etymology or whatever.
I thought it was going to be a gay term.
No.
He's a punter.
Yeah.
Although I could be misinformed and it might well be. I'm just not big in
But see, the etymology of that is I think it would that slang has probably been used in England before American football was around.
Yeah, but you would punt a rugby ball, I guess.
I didn't realize that.
They punt a rugby ball. Yeah. You punt to get something away from you. You want to move on.
Well, my first foray into the proper English vernacular was at an uncle of mine, and he said, I was pissed outside of a Michael Jackson concert. I was like, well, what did Michael Jackson not play well, But pissed.
This is the biggest one here where I will be full flow story, and then I look over to the person, and they have they're completely confused about what I was talking about. It's the
you're
same
mad.
thing. I'd be like,
perplexed.
I was so pissed last night, and then I carry on with just me being drunk, which is what that means.
And they're
to
like,
me.
I'm sorry,
And
I'm
then
sorry,
they're
honey, what were you mad about?
Yeah, but when you were drunk, who really annoyed you?
Some cunt.
Who hurt you, Billy? Well, that's not what. No, I was just pissed.
Do your parents call you William or Billy?
No, I am just Billy. Straight Billy, as I keep saying in this country, because
Is there a lot of gay Billies?
the accent, the hair. I carry a little man bag. We had this discussion at Huckapoos where a guy thought I was, and I asked why, and he was like, "The bag."
Were you drinking a Bud Light?
I was like, "Okay, that's it." Yeah,
Wait, did you have it over the shoulder?
yeah.
or-
I mean, I had it just over one shoulder, and I
Okay.
was kissing a dude at the same time,
right,
so I,
right.
was
That'll
like, I
do
could
it.
see how he got confused.
natural confusion.
Yeah, but no. So but I am just Billy anyway. Like William isn't my name. It's
Oh, it was just Billy.
Yeah, birth certificate.
They've come
Billy.
so far.
Yeah.
Yeah, because typically, if someone's named Billy, you're like, they're obviously
They got
William.
Paxton. Billy, you're just Billy.
Yeah.
We have a bit where anytime anyone asks me anything about the podcast, I'm like, yeah, I'm a podcast partner. And they're like, oh, I didn't know you had a partner. I was like, yeah, Clint's my partner.
And I get more somehow than he does. People are like, so I didn't know Paxton was queer. I'm like, there's a lot about Paxton you don't know.
Yeah.
You don't. That's one of the things you don't want to give up. You don't want to tell them about it. You want to make them figure it out.
No, I want to live the bit for as long
Live
as
it
I
as
can.
long as you can.
That seems a little bit archaic too. They're like, oh, he's got an English accent. Yay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
that is very southern
it's-
archaic.
Yeah, it's accent which just sounds fancy, even though in England this is a relatively neutral voice. The hair probably doesn't help. I wear weird trousers. There are people in England who would also
you also said
potentially
trousers.
think
That's not going to help you anywhere.
Yeah, I mean that's just what we got.
I mean, look, that's what they were called originally.
And it's not a super distinctive accent because you're from the north of England, right?
Yeah, so I'm from the Midlands essentially, but spend most of my time in the north.
So you're from where exactly?
Nottingham, so Robin Hood country.
So all you out here doing Robin Hood is
Yeah,
his cousin.
That's
And
all we have
Leeds
really.
as
And then
well?
I went to school in Leeds and lived there for 13 years.
So you're looking at a map of England. You're right in the middle, pretty much.
Yeah, it's called the Midlands. It is essentially, you are if you are going from London to Scotland, it's a decent place to stop halfway.
Okay.
And in England, so it's flip flop from the U.S. The north is our south, basically. So the more country redneckish
You eat
people are in
corn
the
through a
north.
chain link fence up north, not to the south.
Am I
yeah,
right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, all my family's from the north, but they're lovely. But no, so
Is that why you're happy down here in the
But
south?
north is where you will get your more interesting accents. Like you'll get more rural countryside that is still significantly working class.
Yeah.
Most of the South's rural lands are all very pretty areas that cost a lot of money to live in, essentially. The closer you get to London, the posher it is. It's
Sure.
basically how
Oh yeah, that makes sense though. I mean, London is the. So do you like Indian food? I know London's like that, but like the second best place to get Indian food.
I do,
And the
yeah.
best without
I do.
diarrhea.
Yeah. No, there is exceptional Indian food there.
For whatever reason, like I've heard when you go to England, just eat Indian food and you'll be happy.
Yeah, it's just I think sadly a hangover from colonialism, but one of the good things that we ended up with is enough
Another good
people
thing.
from India who
But hasn't everything turned into a curry now, though? Anything with meat and sauce?
basically curry it up. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. And after a night out, like, is it kebab or curry?
Kebab would be your main, because curry requires cutlery and sitting down. Whereas
Yeah,
a
yeah.
kebab,
Kebab
you
you can
can
put in your
shovel
hands,
that
yeah.
into your mouth while you wait for a taxi and then regret it for the next 9 hours.
Not unlike we regret the morning. So here on Tybee, there's one restaurant that stays open until 2:45, where you can get that late night food. So at least here in Georgia, it's like wings, burgers, chicken sandwiches, something like
onion
that,
rings.
that you're going to eat late at night, before you go to sleep. But there's
Greasy
only one
French
restaurant
fries.
down here that stays open late enough after the bars to where you can get that. So typically, the hangover regret of bad food choices doesn't happen from the night before. It happens from the morning of.
Whatever you choose once you're
Yeah,
out.
once you've-
Well,
Yeah.
if you're in Savannah, there's an even worse regret. It's Crystals.
Are you familiar with Crystal or White
no.
Castle?
White Castle?
Oh, I know
It's a-
White
it's-
Castle.
So
yeah.
Crystals is the southern version of White Castle.
Okay.
It's- The diarrhea's got more draw to it.
burgers. But they stay open 24 hours no matter what.
Now the service there, impeccably bad. Well,
So-
a bunch of cunts.
So how have you found it, like, particularly here in the South, and especially like with pub bar culture? Like,
I think it's the biggest cliche of the South, but like incredibly friendly. I think there's a huge difference. I think Americans in general, obviously it's a mass generalization, and there are some C words, but if you were to walk into my local pub in Leeds, which is a very nice pub, it's lovely. Everyone in there is nice.
How big of a pub?
It could seat probably like 100.
Okay.
It's pretty big. I would say, if you had...
In my head, for a reason, most pubs over there are like 30
Yeah, so
deep
this
tops.
one's like more in the suburbs, so it's got room. My
Okay.
favourite pub in Leeds, if one person's coming down the stairs, you can't go up the stairs. It's just a tiny, tiny staircase that's been there since like 17-something.
Yes.
But that's my favourite pub. But yeah, so say if you were in that pub and that people overheard your accent, they would all go, oh, American guy over there. And that's it. No one's going to come talk to you about it.
Really?
No one's going to ask why you're there. Some of it isn't unfriendliness. Some of it is British.
Sure.
Well, I don't want to intrude on your evening. I don't know why you're there. You could be incredibly sad and want to be alone. So you're at the pub. So I'll just leave you alone. I'm not going to dive into a conversation with you.
And I'm not going to be so pompous as to think that you want to.
Yeah, you want me to wander up and start saying where you should go and what you should do.
See, I operate like that here, but that's just me.
But
Yeah,
I think
I would
we're
argue-
international, though. We're branching out more.
Man, yeah.
Yeah, I don't do a lot in that 3-bar rule.
Yeah.
I don't, I'm quite an outgoing guy.
Yeah.
But it's normally, I think the 3-bar rule is essentially just 3 pints, because by the third one, I'm just making eyes at people waiting for someone to talk to me. But no one's going to come talk to you in England in that way.
No, it's
whereas-
like, hey, what are you doing here?
But that will always happen. That's
Yeah.
I've been on this trip since October the 10th. Pretty much, apart from the days where I have to drive after I've been to pubs.
Yeah.
I've not ended a night on my own.
Right,
once.
yeah.
I've
Okay,
always just found friends.
Don't brag.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I've always just found friends.
So, well, let me give you a little bit of the history of you being on here. You came in Saturday night, and you had your 6 Shiner box, and it didn't seem like you cared to talk to anyone. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I respect that. I mean, I found a kinship because I
Won't talk to anyone. Yes.
don't talk to anyone ever. Yeah. I don't care. So then I saw you last night, and we actually got to chat a little bit because it was so dead up there.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I left, and I was like, man, I got to get back in touch to see if Billy wants to come on just to chat a little bit. I want the perspective of someone who's not from here.
I thought he was going to go all Aberdeen on us the entire time and want to talk about exclusively British stuff.
I thought I was going to get a nice cup with $5 inside. That's what he said.
I forgot the gift
Yeah,
this time.
yeah.
But then I sort of felt you were a little reticent because you thought it might have been a sideshow.
I thought potentially what an incredible plan to murder a 30-year-old white person is to invite them on a podcast, because who's going to say no?
And
God,
then
we
when,
could have had so many good deaths.
Yeah.
no, when he got here, I knew that was like in his head a
Oh,
little bit.
1,000%.
Well, I can tell you stayed by the door the entire time.
And I go,
They
I've
came
got the.
upstairs. He stayed by the door with me.
I said, I got the murder dungeon downstairs as well. He goes, oh, well, that's just fucking great.
It was great. Oh, he dressed up for it though.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you sort of semi-grow out of, we have stranger danger. I don't know if you
Sure.
had taught it when you were younger,
Yeah.
but don't get in the
Our
van.
stranger danger is don't talk to that stranger. Not because he's going to kill you, because he's going to kill you with you wanting to murder yourself because he's so annoying.
Yeah, that potentially would
You haven't
also
probably
be.
had to
Yeah,
meet
you don't want
creatures
to
yet, or
bump
someone
into
like that,
strangers. But
There's some strangers here that are they're just going to annoy you.
Yeah.
So you want to kill yourself, not more so than they're going to kill you.
they are
I
dangerous to yourself, but you're going to do it.
I wouldn't ride in a car with them necessarily. That could not be unlike certain other people that are.
Oh, no.
So come
No.
on.
I got that vibe off of you, and I kept playing the bit because I was like, he thinks I'm taking him over here to murder him in my dungeon.
Well, then he comes in, I'm making drinks and stuff, like blended up cucumber.
And Kelly picked him up last night, and I was like, oh, that either makes it worse or better. But the only person that would kill another person without proper cause.
Scarf Brooks.
Shit. It's the Karen
He's gonna go first.
of the week.
I'm going first.
It's the Karen of the week. Ah, shit.
Oh shit! Everyone's favorite segment, the Karen of the week. So we did a podcast last Thursday because Clint had the runny bottom.
I had more on that in just a minute. My Darren.
He had the runny bottom on Monday, so we had to sort of space it out.
Do you know what a Karen and a Karen is?
I do, yeah. Karen is I think our Karens have the same haircut as your Karens.
Sure.
Yeah,
So
you
a
can pick
Darren
them out.
is the male Karen.
Okay,
Yeah,
I don't know
for-
what their haircut would look like.
kind of the same.
Or bald as fuck. I don't
Or
know why.
bald. Yeah.
Yeah, I went bold in my head.
Yeah. Or like a Kentucky waterfall. Do you know what that is? Like a
No,
mullet.
I don't.
A mullet.
Oh, yeah.
Party in the front.
Is that what you call a
Party in
mullet?
the back.
I'm stealing
Kentucky
that.
waterfall.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm stealing
Is
that.
there
yeah.
an
It's the Tennessee
English?
mudslide?
Is there an English equivalent, term-wise, to Karen?
I think we would call them Karens.
Oh, okay,
And
yeah.
and then it kind of sort of died. You know, it came like a big trend, then kind of died. But then all of the people you would call a Karen really spoke up about how much it offended them on the inside to be called a Karen. So then we all started doing it more.
Yeah, exactly.
It was probably going to pass on, but then
they brought it back. And the
Yeah.
pandemic helped reboost the Karens, too.
Oh yeah, they were all out.
And then the people named Karen, like I encountered one that changed her name. Her name was spelled Karen, but she was like, it's Karen or whatever. I was like, no, it's not. Like she was trying, and the thing is, she had the personality of it.
Yes. Yeah, you don't really. You could keep changing your name. If you're a Karen,
Yeah,
you're a Karen.
you're a Karen.
Yeah, cut your hair.
Here's the thing you don't do. Tell other people what bothers you. The moment, if anything I know bothers Clint, hey,
Oh, yeah.
we are. So, like I said, we did the podcast last Thursday.
But we're
and-
being cheeky when we do that.
and very cheeky. And we haven't had a lot of time for me to have any Karens necessarily. So I'm kind of, because we were kind of slow at work this weekend. But as a Hail Mary, today when I'm going to the liquor store to grab the Guinness for our friend here,
Oh, you got it that late in the game?
that late in the
God
game,
damn,
literal
1 minute
Hail
left.
Mary. So, and typically my Karens and Darrens are Karens and Darrens that I experience. They're being,
I got to say, you've had, I think we went back to the log of Karens in line. You're killing the game. You've had quite a few. The thing is, you live next to a Karen Depot, a.k.a. the Chews during the summer is a Karen Depot. You can get a fishing license from there. They sell jewelry. It's really a
here's how
Karen outlet mall.
here's how the podcast has ruined my mind. Every social situation I'm ever in, I'm like, is there content?
Especially if you're not involved in it, you can just watch it.
And it's a beautiful thing to be, you know, just a fly on the wall, you know, just a specter in the room. So I go in, I'm looking for the 4-pack of Guinness, find it. A woman walks in with a mask. No judge there, you know, whatever makes you feel comfortable. But immediately,
Pretty busy store too. It's you, her, and
it's
the,
me and her
and the-
and the cashier. So I was like, all right, that seems a little unnecessary.
pretty
So
windy out here.
I'm keeping my distance no matter what. We never got close enough to each other because this is kind of like a big store. And
You didn't hear with the just to get some more space.
so she gets in line in front of me. She's got a bottle of Chardonnay, bottle of gin, which is Chardonnay. If there's any,
Chardonnay's a Karen drink. I mean, if there's a Karen cocktail, it's Chardonnay. and
every
gin.
Karen gets allotted a bottle of Chardonnay once a month. It's a subsidy from the government for sure.
Not a lot of port wine drinking Karens. That's all I'm saying.
Not a lot of Pinot Noir in the Karen.
Ooh, I'm gonna Pinot Noir with Cabernet.
So the lady working the counter, so it's a part of the Chews convenience stores down here. So she's an Asian lady, probably.
Is it the cigarette lady?
No, it's not a cigarette lady. No, it's an Asian lady, and you know, black don't crack. So she could have been 80. She could have been 60. The cashier.
Yeah, Asian ladies. But
You don't
yeah,
know. Black
you have no
don't
idea.
crack. Asian don't raisin. That's
That's the Asian lady. I was like, you keep saying black, but you know.
So this Karen, mid 40s white lady, she points at a random bottle of stuff on the counter. She goes, "Hey, how do you like this? Is this any good?" And the old lady behind the counter is like, I don't know. I haven't
Tried everything in the store.
tried every single. She goes on to be like, all right, that Johnny Walker Red, how do you find that? And she's like, listen, I was like, are you going to walk up to a morbidly obese person and be like, so keto, what do you think about it?
Or just in a place with 1,000 different flavors of items.
Of alcohol, which this old lady, Asian or not, she's probably not.
She didn't come behind the counter and go, do you need any help? She's like, you're going to figure it out for yourself or not.
I thought it was a bit after the third thing that she asked about. She starts pointing. It was almost like Brick Tamley's like, I love lamb. Anything she saw in the room, she was like, well, what about the things in the circular jars? She's like,
How's the sugar on the Jaeger?
ma'am, I don't drink any of these things. I'm an old Asian woman. Would you like to use credit card or cash? So I'm waiting. I'm patiently standing behind her, enjoying every minute of it. Karen goes, do you hear a buzzing sound in here?
Was that your dick getting hard?
It was
You're like,
my
"Oh, come
raging
on,
semi.
Karen."
The cashier and I, we locked eyes.
She finally goes for the third camera.
she up for a moment, and we both decide without speaking to each other. We
We do not hear the sound.
no, what are you talking about? She goes, you don't hear that? She's turned completely to me, and I can still see the Asian lady. I was like, no, I can't. She turns back to her looking for some recognition. The Asian lady was like, I think you're crazy.
Meanwhile,
Then it was a very loud buzzing sound. So then the lady, this is how Karen she was. She goes, you guys are trying to make me look crazy. And she goes, well, not look crazy.
oh,
Feel crazy.
hold on. Did she look at you and look you up and down when she said that line?
with her giant, she had one of the like the late model masks on, which had like the really sharp point on the end of it. I was like
Madonna's tits in the '80s.
you look you look and act crazy right now, baby.
Is that or the shield, the full face shield one,
All right, so the shield
the
thing,
welder shield?
the shield thing, I remember people were like, if you worked at a certain like corporate-ish place, they wanted the people to see your facial expression, but they still wanted the.
Well, because air only travels down, not up at all, so that makes sense to me.
Yeah, how was like mass situation?
Everyone followed it pretty.
They're very polite
pretty
over
well. Yeah.
No, I'm saying we did until it became.
Yeah, and so now
Well, some of us. Some people are in a hospital.
You won't see people a lot now in England wearing them because I always think now it's become borderline Pavlovian at this point, where if I see someone in a mask, I'm like fine, but never have I now wanted to cough more. And I've suddenly developed a cough, not on purpose. It's just now I'm like,
Yeah.
I can't.
It
Well, you're like,
is
so
a
wonder,
dog whistle.
am I kind of sick,
Yeah.
or are they an asshole? Here's the thing. My biggest one is you're alone in a car with a mask on. Who else?
That was odd during the.
Is there a body
actual
in there?
pandemic. Yeah.
Which here's the thing: it's never been a better time for being a criminal than mask time. You can rob banks. You can have dead bodies in the car. Mask on to complete the smell out of the way. But if you're in a car alone, or if you were outside 25 feet from another human being, the chances of anything in anyone's mouth getting in your mouth are astronomical. Like the wind's got to be just at the right pace. People were on the beach here with masks on. I'm like, what do you? This is the same place to be.
During the heat of it, I would mask up in public places where I would be around people.
Yeah.
And I'm not a fucking doctor. I'm not a scientist. I don't know anything like that. So if it was recommended, I would do it if I was going to be anywhere near anyone.
Yeah, it's
not for
it's
me.
courteous.
Not for me, just to be courteous. But now it's like the Pavlov's fucking bell right now. It's actually, I kind of respect it because like, if you have the mask on, obviously I'm going to stay away from you just so I don't make you feel uncomfortable.
And some people may be immunocompromised. They may need to have masks on.
Cool.
But a lot of people are signaling though.
Now it's more of a signaling thing.
I like.
think.
So it's become a thing in the hood in Savannah to wear a mask on your chin, and just. But like I worked with a dude. Watch this in my restaurant for 3 months. Mask on, just chin though. He'd never cut over his mouth. It was just a part of his daily like wear. He was like, not this mask, this one instead.
Well, I would mask up more often than I typically would without any sort of outside interference because so many Southern people down here immediately at the beginning of masks, they were like, what are y'all queers doing? You going to wear a mask? What are you afraid of, a little bug or whatever? I'm like, you're the fat ass
As they
that's going
drink their Bud Light that they hated it 1 year later.
You're
But
the
also,
one that,
like I always found that odd because you got the same thing in England, and I was like, well, I'm not like afraid. Like I don't think the bug's gonna jump me down the alleyway, but I'd rather not get ill. If there's two options, get ill or not, I'll take not. Which you're suggesting you would rather just be ill for the sake of looking a little bit like more Machado for a little while. Odd choice
Back
because
to
you're
your
gonna
turn
get a
signal
cold.
friends in the
Yeah.
big giant truck.
Yeah. Yeah, it was an odd like hill to die on. I thought
Exactly,
Let's just
yeah,
be like,
exactly,
no,
yeah.
like if I'm a man, I'm gonna get ill.
and do you think you doing that is going to impress me in some sort of way that like, you don't know me. I don't care.
Should have warned him about this part. We didn't.
Oh yeah.
Speaking of getting ill, this is the most. We did not give Billy any heads up. I put this big on every time when I do my Karen or Darren of the week, or this is what I come with. So, I got ill again. It wasn't Taco Bell this time. It was Grouper at a place I work somewhere. I won't tell you about River Street. I was in the night. There was 2 pieces of grouper fillet in the window, and I'm like, hey, what are you doing with that fish over there? He goes, nothing. You can have them both. I'm like, I'll eat one. I'll be polite, save the other one, since somebody else wants it. Now, it may have been the grouper or the enormous amount of tartar sauce I used to make this overly oiled piece of fish taste good.
So you like mayonnaise, do you?
I'm a little bit of a fan of mayonnaise. I mean, I've even killed for it sometimes. And so I eat this, and I'm like, it's not good, it's not bad. I know that it's frozen. I know that it's from Suriname or Suriname. It's a country that no one's heard of. You know why? It's very small on the coast of South America. But where I work, does a very good job of they serve things that we can catch locally. So when people go, is the grouper local? I'm like, oh, we do fish for grouper here.
Oh yeah, because we do have grouper here.
People go, hey, how is shrimp right now? I'm like, it's shrimp season in Savannah. That's not a lie. It's just not truth about what we have.
That doesn't
on
mean our
menu.
shrimp aren't from the Gulf of Mexico. Gotcha.
So nobody finishes piece of grouper B. And so I just go, you know what? I'll eat that too. I'm recovering from a Taco Bell incident. And I'm like, I'll be fine. Eat that other piece of grouper. So I've eaten about 16 ounces of grouper in like a 20-minute period with, again, I went sriracha remoulade on this one, but still mayonnaise.
Sriracha remoulade.
Yeah, but mayonnaise is still part of the goddamn equation, okay?
That was me helping the audience understand what you
Sriracha remoulade. It's from
Poor Billy.
Suriname.
He's like, what the fuck is this?
I've got about 50% of this story so far.
That's pretty good. You're doing great. That's what our audience gets to.
I'm too scared to ask what grouper is.
Oh, grouper's a large, white, flaky fish caught locally. There's black groupers about this big per fish. Who people constantly
American haddock.
Yeah.
Thank you, there we go.
No, it's a little thinner than a haddock.
Yeah, whatever.
It's like if a mahi and a
it's
haddock.
it's a
fucks.
meaty
You
white
know what a mahi
fish.
is?
Yeah.
It's like a mahi and a haddock had a baby.
Okay, I've only ever seen mahi once it's like on a plate, but
Yeah.
yeah.
That's you don't need to see them fuck. Just the way the meat tastes.
Oh no, I'd like to.
That's.
I mean,
fish
we'd
sex
all
is
like to.
lame.
Yeah.
So 6 hours go by, and I wake up and go, uh-oh. All I've eaten in the last 24 hours is what I normally eat. My shake for work, everything I eat week to week when I'm
One
working.
banana at 10:35 a.m.
Yes.
A protein shake at 4:14 p.m.
Each one Taco Bell mild sauce on there. And so I'm like,
Half a spoon of mayonnaise
it's
at
the grouper.
Duke's.
It's the grouper. It's the grouper. And it got me again. And maybe it was because I was just on the escalator of shitting everywhere that it got sick easy. But I'm like, I don't want to eat. I usually don't eat any frozen seafood unless I have to.
Well, did they put it on special or something because it was turning?
No.
Because typically,
I was
like
just turning.
seafood, if it's going to make you sick, it's either shellfish that have turned,
Properly or improper storage.
but you can tell when fish is turned, and because you won't eat fish that's
Before
turned.
it's cooked, you can. Once it's cooked with oil and garlic and
covered
pepper
in
and salt,
lemon, yeah.
and you put a couple ounces of mayonnaise on there, it'll really disguise the taste of the fish. But it led me back to where I belonged in an early week on the porcelain throne. At least I was home and not in a gas station in the middle of Georgia.
That helps.
It does help. But as y'all know, I like to poop at home. I don't want to poop anywhere else. Paxton
Nope.
got him a day for his birthday. It's still in a box somewhere. He shits on the box, I think. Billy, do you bidet?
Do I bidet?
Do you bidet?
I don't bidet. No.
It's not very un-European of you.
Yeah, that's the kind of European that the rest of England rejects.
You're driving on the wrong side of the road still.
Yeah, that's for the people who drive on the wrong side of the road. They use kilometers and they don't
And
like
they
toilet
spray
paper.
their
for
ass
some
with water
reason.
to clean it off a
Yeah.
little easier.
I don't care if it's cleaner. I find it odd. It's ungentlemanly.
It's odd when you come the first few times, but after that, it's fine.
No, it stays on.
It is ungentlemanly, I think. So
It's gentlemanly for sure.
Picture someone using a bidet and then think of that person as gentlemanly. You can't bring those two things together.
The King of England uses a bidet.
You mentioned Mad Men before. You think Don Draper uses a bidet?
Don Draper would never use
Absolutely
He
that.
has a
not.
girl lick his butthole like
Yeah.
a regular adult.
he
Well, you
takes
didn't
scotch.
ask me that.
He takes scotch, puts it on the toilet paper. So last week, our episode was called the Colombian Wet
Are
Wipe.
you going to go with the Scottish wet wipe here?
The Colombian Wet Wipe was what was it? The Colombian.
So there's a thing called an Alabama wet wipe. It's when so if you don't have a wet wipe, which you use to sometimes clean after you pooped, you at least use those, you animal. No, you just raw dogging it. But so if you don't have excess wet wipe, you spit on the teepee and wipe your ass. It's called an Alabama wet wipe.
Okay, and so me using raw toilet paper is an animal spitting onto toilet paper and then putting your own spit on your own bum.
It's my spit.
Yeah, that's fine.
Just
okay?
fine. But if you're in Colombia, you do the Colombian wet wipe, which when you're close to the sink,
This is
you
the
put a
best time I've
little bit
ever
of
had.
sink water on there and use that to wipe it
See,
off.
that's classier.
That's,
yeah,
that's definitely classier. Colombia over Alabama.
That's like hand applying a bidet.
The West. So there's also the West Virginia wet wipe. It's when you just lick your fingers and stick them in your ass.
Just stick them up your bum. All right. So
I've never been happier than in this
So
moment right
the
now.
same way that I know Karens because none
Yeah.
of that exists in England. I would like that on the record. None of us do that.
They call it the Liverpool wet wipe, I think, right?
No.
Who's your soccer team?
The Scousers
I'm a
wet wipe.
Middlesbrough fan, which will mean very little to anybody. But
Paxton got it.
second tier of English football.
Okay.
We got relegated from the top tier like 8 years ago, and we haven't been back.
We have 4
since.
listeners who are like happy right now about knowing that it is.
Well, we chatted about just football in general earlier, and I didn't know you were a fan of American football so much because we were talking about Megatron and CT.
Yeah.
Getting a little in the weeds there, but yeah, Matt Stafford. We were talking about who's the running back for the
Barry Sanders?
Barry Sanders.
Yes.
Yeah. And how it's sort
Wait,
of.
you knew who Megatron was?
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
We were talking about people who retired early enough where they didn't the
Get a ton of
CTE
CTE,
didn't.
yeah.
So Megatron did that, and then Barry Sanders wasting an entire career at a terrible team, even though he's the best running back in the league.
Yeah, that's a terrible thing. But then OJ, he didn't have any CTE. Not at
No,
all.
he seemed like a pretty stand-up guy.
Yeah, he's
a
great dude.
Hello, Twitter world. I still love his Twitter because he just
To
every
be
time-
fair, I do remember, I don't think he was indicating when he was driving that white Bronco at all. I think he was just crossing lanes. like
And that
you
was Al
wouldn't believe.
Cowlings driving, though.
AC Cowlings was driving. yeah.
Okay.
But
in
I
that
didn't see an
case,
indicator.
OJ's done nothing wrong.
No, he said.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
wrote a book
His symbol
about
was
it.
a knife at the window. Just
Yeah.
a knife to the right and a knife to the left. So was that a big deal? You're how old? 30. So you would have been like.
Yeah,
8?
it wasn't a big deal. The riots that preceded it and set the whole stage for that whole trial to be the way it was, they were big news in England.
But not the verdict.
But OJ in general wasn't known as a person. Neither was Anna Nicole, right?
Oh, I just
No,
thought
that's a
that
different woman. It was
who died?
Anna Nicole Smith or somebody else.
Nicole Brown.
Nicole
Nicole Brown. Yeah, there we go.
Nicole
Yeah.
Brown Simpson.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they weren't neither of those people were known in England. So the actual
She was pretty much famous for marrying
yeah.
O.J. Simpson.
Yeah, and OJ wasn't really known.
They stopped my high school freshman homeroom class to watch the verdict.
See,
What's the verdict?
So
they
here
announced it
here
in my
here in the
school
U.S.
eighth grade over the intercom.
he had been out of the league long enough where he wasn't in the zeitgeist of the.
Well, he was an actor.
Oh yeah, he was in
Naked
Naked
Gun.
Gun.
He's in
yeah.
Naked Guns. Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
I knew him from.
He was more of a icon in terms of being an actor, just being a public figure, more than this footballing. But then
He didn't. It wasn't like Dan Marino. He didn't do any Isotoner commercials.
he
That is
did.
a deep cut joke, by the way.
He did a Hertz auto commercial where he runs through the
That's
neighborhood.
right, yeah.
Or not the neighbor through the airport with a knife.
Yeah,
But the trial was the biggest thing here.
it was huge. Well, it was the most money anyone ever spent on a lawyer team.
At that point, yeah, probably.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And
And he got away with it.
with what? He was innocent.
If only he wrote a book called "If I Had Done It." Like, the thing is, I don't know if you use Twitter.
Yes.
So if you go to OJ's Twitter, no matter what he posts, every comment is just knives.
Oh, his Twitter is relatively unhinged anyway.
Yeah,
to be fair.
like
the
he
bits
said-
that make it into my onto my timeline, it's always
It's
because
just
he's
all
done
the
something
comments are where
very
I'm at, where it's
odd.
just knives and stuff.
I love how he tries
swords.
to go in there so casually, like, well, I think the game on Sunday, they only won by 7, but this and that, and no one in the comments are commenting on what he's actually talking
It's
about.
just
They're just
knives.
like, did you do it?
Did you do it, OJ?
Garth Brooks?
Do you know Garth Brooks? Damn it! Yeah, you tossed me that time. You got me that time. So we're a little into this. You want to have another drink? Do you mind doing a Patreon with us? When we do after this, we just talk shit. We turn the cameras off. We get a little. I'm sorry. What did you say, Kelly? Oh, you don't have a microphone. Fuck, my bad. Yeah, we're gonna definitely get a Patreon over here. Just
So wait, so on the Patreon we talk shit.
we talk more shit.
Okay, I was
We-
about to ask what we've just been doing.
What? Before we go, what was your description of how we would describe the podcast to someone? Because I didn't do it very well for you. It was
So yeah, midway through talking about smoking a duck, we're going to do impressions of an NFL quarterback who's just been knocked out.
And that's the podcast right there, baby. Billy, thank you for joining us. If you would like to follow us on Patreon and help support the show, it's patreon.com/From Behind the Barcast. Please sub to the YouTube station. It's YouTube From Behind the Barcast. Instagram, all that. Billy, thank you for joining us. Clint, Kelly, wait for us in the Patreon. It's going to be spicy.
And next week we got a guest, Travis
J.
Udon.
You've never said his last name right.
Travis Jihadon. Travis Jihadon from Hot Mess Podcast. We'll be on next Monday with us also. So,
But yeah,
we'll
stay
see you
tuned. We love you guys. Well done. It was everything up. Everything I hoped it could be.
I have to gauge off.